Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. It's time for more legacy gameplay. Today I want to be playing some Dimir tempo. Yeah, let's get into my card choices. So I've decided to play Mishra's Bauble for this league, mainly because Oops All Spells has been trending downwards. So it's just a more efficient way to grow my Netherglyphs, maybe even flip my Tameo. I'm up to 4 Tameos. I believe enough of my matchups are going to be matchups with time, so I can take advantage with sending a turn 1 threat must deal with more often. Mana base the same as always, 4 Wastelands, 2 Basics, 1 Surveil, 3 Thoughtseize. Love that card. I will say with the rise of red tempo, Thoughtseize is certainly dropping in value. Full amount of Bowmasters, couple of Murktides on top. I shaved a Brazen Borrower to the sideboard to make room for the 4th Tameo. Then a couple of Kaito to hopefully, be this card advantage / removal / just annoying angle for the opponent. Sideboard-wise, I have Consigns for colorless decks. I have Hydroblasts for, like, Cutter, Channeler, Painter type scenario. Negations against combo, Baraglyph against mainly the red decks. Very awesome against the Mono-Red Prison and Is It Cutter? Shelter's Edict, deals with flip Tameo, kills some planeswalkers here and there, can hopefully kill a Murktide. Brazen Borrower, bounce a Chalice, play some magic, bounce a Murktide, bounce various things, and then some Graveyard Hate. I like this split because the Fairy is something that is better for tempo, and the Cage is better for being a reliable hate piece. So yeah, let's see if I queue into some Graveyard decks and I get super punished for registering Mishra's Bauble. Yeah, let's get to the games. All right, around 1-0 lands here. Let's say I knew the matchup was something where I expected my opponent to go for Fireworks turn 1, like Oops All Spells, right? I hopefully win that war, I wasteland them and buy a lot of turns, then I could keep this hand, but it's not possible in the dark. This is a lot better, and let's get rid of a redundant Brainstorm. Then I have a plan with Thoughtseize into either Brainstorm Fetch or Bowmaster. Let's see what I'm up against here. I'm pretty weak against a good turn 1 play. That's what happens sometimes. You only have 4 Fatal Pushes. Ooh. Okay, so my opponent's just going to kill me turn 1. I love that. That's incredibly cool. Let's see what they're up to. Okay, so it looks like a draw 7 turn 1. No? Okay, gamble draw 7. Sure. That is, that's funny. All right, so my opponent is casting a turn 1 draw 7 with 3 floating and a land in play. So even if they don't kill me here, it's very solid play. And I draw into a bad hand. So even if my opponent passes the turn, I'm in big trouble. What can this hand even do? This hand can wasteland the opponent and do nothing. Or it can play a land and Desperation Dick with Brainstorm. So let's see. My opponent passed there with 3 mana in the mana pool. That tells me there's a lot of land in my opponent's hand. So I think that's why I should play like this. That's kind of the only thing that I can beat my opponent having a ton of lands. So if I start wastelanding my opponent, I'm just playing poorly against the only thing I can beat. So let's see. These Epic Storm decks usually have like Galvanic Relay in their deck, but then again, they could have floated a bit better if that's the case. Here's Burning Wish, a card that I will daze if I have a daze in the top 3, so I feel like I should go for that one. I don't. I think next turn I'm going to wasteland my opponent. Now I think it's time to. So I guess, what if I get Thoughtseize here? What's my best card? Is it the Bauble? That's kind of funny if that's true. Now I don't have any other plays, I feel like, than try and cut my opponent from red. Hope they only have rituals. Oh, they got Thoughtseize. They got Thoughtseize. I have a bad card on top of my deck. So let's say I get rid of that Murktide with Sewers, draw with Bauble. That card just gets Thoughtseize then. I feel like my only way to win this game. This is actually a very cool game. So my opponent had an insane turn 1, and then it's kind of up to me to how do I have a fighting chance, right? Because I'm never going to be a favorite in this game, but I have to find a line where I'm actually competitive. I don't think cracking this Bauble is the way to go. I don't want to do that now. So let's see. What I want to do is wasteland my opponent's black source, hope they can't Thoughtseize me. Then hope that they delay their kill because they don't want to fold to a simple Force of Will. And then I magically draw into the game here. I think that's my only out. And here's exactly that happening. This is so weird. Okay, so now let's see what my opponent's drawing. Drawing Lionside Diamond, which may or may not help. Draw. I know about that card, and then I draw a fresh one. Yeah, these are terrible. I can flip my Tameo, or I can develop a Bowmaster. I wonder what's better. Flipping Tameo or deploying Bowmaster. In theory, my opponent's plan could be the draw 7 after drawing the LED. But even then, I guess that's fine. Then I ping my opponent for 7. That puts them at 10, and I have 8 power. So a Bowmaster would kill them. Okay. So I think I play like this. But yeah, this is really hard. This is super hard. Straight from the morning. A very, very hard game where, yeah, my opponent doesn't want any of to do with that. They should probably play out a card here, I feel like. Instead of this. Wait. So they're just discarding a the draw 7 here, or what's the point? Let's see. Okay, they are discarding the draw 7. So yeah, this is so bad. So the thing is, in a game like this, if I put on too much pressure, my opponent will just go for it, right? So that's kind of the tricky thing here, in my opinion. So am I supposed to crack Clue now? I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to maybe bluff a Bowmaster. Okay, I like this card. The perfect scenario is I find a Force of Will in that spot, right? So now I'm in a spot where I don't think my opponent can clear the way with Thoughtseize without risking dying. Okay, so here's the Thoughtseize. I don't think my opponent's winning this turn. I think they're bridging for next turn. But let's see if I'm right about that. Okay. Oh, I guess I knew about that. Okay, so my opponent needs to win now. Which I'm sure is very possible. And I need to, like, draw into a Force of Will off the draw 7. This is cool. This is, yeah, this is Magic the Gathering, right? The opponent could have just killed me and we had no interesting decisions, but they didn't, so now we had a ton of interesting decisions. Not wastelanding since they bricked off the 7, then wastelanding the key color since they Burning Wish for Thoughtseize. Then trying to apply a little bit of pressure. And then I have to get lucky here and find a Force of Will. This looks like, okay, this is good play. Float appropriate mana, play another Opal. Also float for that one in case they brick off of artifacts. Okay, looks like we have more stuff here. Okay. Is this game over? Let's see. Burning Wish for Beseech Dimir. And then I guess replay the graveyard and storm me out here. Bargain, Gay as Will, Land, Opal, Lion's Eye. What am I missing here? How does the opponent get to 4 mana? I guess, okay, got it. Second Opal. Okay, so the opponent found the line here, it looks like. And I have a Brainstorm on top of my deck. Days of Force of Will would have won the game, but obviously the opponent can't worry about that. I like how they played here. Oh, right. Lion's Eye and playing stuff from the graveyard works just fine. All right. So let's see what we can do against the Epic Storm and sideboarding. These Galvanic Relays are going to be the toughest cards to play against. Veil of Summer is very good to know about. Them going through the graveyard is probably something I should consider. The easy thing is I have a lot of easy cuts here. So let's try and see. We need those for sure. And signs are good because I can counter the Galvanic Relay Storm trigger. These are good because of Burning Wish. And then I'm considering what to do with regards to Cage. So let's see here. I like most of my cards. I will say this pile of these 12 cards are on the chopping block. I am not the biggest Bowmaster believer. I think you have to get very lucky. It's bad against Veil. The opponent can just, you know, draw 7 and beat it also. So I don't think it's very reliable. I want to cut, and maybe I want to cut all of them and it pushes. So maybe I just add a Brazen because it's a blue card and my matchup is, you know, a 6 force post sideboard situation. I think this is fine. Nethergoyf isn't amazing. I like drawing a single Nethergoyf. Question is that enough to have a Brazen instead of it? Let's try and see here. 14, 18, 21. So I have 30 blue cards, which is awesome. You never have enough blue cards in these matchups if you need to double force. I'll try it. I have the maximum amount of blue cards here. A couple of cages, and then hopefully only draw a single Nethergoyf to put on pressure. All right. On the play here against the Epic Storm, this is an easy keep, and now I just have to think about what to do. And I think I want to put on pressure right away, then go turn 2 Ponder Dick for Force of Will. And hopefully Wasteland to delay my opponent and start attacking with my Curd Ape. As always, these matchups are about a combination of pressure and disruption. You are not winning if you're just aggroing. You're not winning if you're just controlling. So I like a little bit of a mix. My opponent with the start I was hoping for. Very good draw. So let's cast this Ponder. These cards should be good enough. Then let's see next turn. It looks like I can't do both. So what's more important next turn? Probably holding up Hydro. So I go like this. I hide the Hydro in case I get disrupted with Thoughtseize. And then I'll attack for 2. Wasteland makes days better. those cards make attacking or even just a couple of damage better. It's kind of the Delver dynamic here of these, like, wasting alone is not interesting, attacking for 2 is not interesting, dazing is not interesting, but in combination they're awesome. So I know about my top card being a cage. Is that something I want to draw, or do I believe my ability to fight over the Gaia's will is better? Because what I could do is fetch Travail and see if I can hit a unique type. But actually, I like this, actually. I think this is going to be just fine. Let's see. My opponent milled a Burning Wish. I predict they go Burning Wish, and I just counter it, but let's see. Dark Ritual. So now is the time where I have to think about my opponent's Galvanic Relay situation. I don't think forcing this is crazy. Force pitching Dark Ritual. My opponent already played a land. Force pitch Brazen Borrower onto the Dark Ritual, rather. Let's see. And hopefully my Daze is live later this turn. I'll Hydro a Rite of Flame. Okay. This is a very tough call. I can't say I love this. If my opponent has like a Petal Draw, I get crushed. Okay. They don't have a Petal Draw. So now, with that being said, am I now interested in the cage? Am I now interested in the cage? Let's see. What happens if I Surveil here? I hit a third land. Kind of have to put to the graveyard. I need to pressure my opponent. Maybe drawing the cage is... I'm going to Surveil away the cage here. Could be a bad... My read right now is my opponent's on Galvanic Relay for action. So let's see if I'm right about that. So fun enough, this land would have been decent. But I also need to mill a card. So now it just makes a land from the top a decent draw. Okay, this certainly works. So let's play that. Attack for 3. So now I need 2 more attack steps to win the game. Opponent also knows that, so this is where it gets tricky. I force of will a Dark Ritual because Galvanic Relay exists, which is a big advantage for the Storm deck. Okay. I'm ready to Hydroblast any Rite of Flame or Burning Wish. And I'm in trouble if my opponent has rituals. Dark Rituals, that is. Getting Thoughtseized here is very bad. Could have dazed, but I feel like it's better to force my opponent to take one of those cards and then leave the other one. Here's a Petal. So let's see if I'm right about the Galvanic Relay turn they were setting up last turn. Okay, here's Galvanic Relay, and I'm probably dazing one of those copies. Let's daze the original and return Surveil, because in theory that can get me to lethal if I'm super lucky. My opponent, let's see, 3 cards. That is the Dream 3. I'm in trouble now. Echo of Eons, Lionside Diamond, Tendrils. Gonna be very hard for me. Draw Thoughtseize, which So let's see. If I Thoughtseize my own Murktide and I mill over an artifact or planeswalker, I have lethal. So I guess we should surveil first. Did I just find lethal? Let's see. I think I just found lethal, which is very lucky, but also very cool thing to look out for. All right. That was pretty sick. Every time stuff like that happens, it's cool that I pressed record. Yeah, I was in big trouble here. Opponent goes, no, wait a minute. This is a 6-drop from out here. Maybe I wasn't in that bad of a shape, but it's better to kill my opponent, I guess. Still like the setup. You can argue that Fairy's punishing compared to Cage. But if they had like a super stack graveyard, it doesn't work. I'll try these. I think it has good blowout potential if the opponent gets some Beseech action going. Let's see. Yeah, that's Magic the Gathering right there, just realizing that Thoughtseizing yourself is a perfectly fine line. Let's think about this hand. So opponent's on a multi-6, that does a little bit. If I go turn 1 Tamiyo, start drawing cards, holding up Hydro from turn. The thing is, yeah, my opponent gets to Burning Wish before I'm holding up Hydro, or I have to play turn 2 Tamiyo, which I really don't like. Another go if it's going to be a very late play. Second Tamiyo is bad until I draw a Force. Yeah, I think I'm mulliganing this hand. Yeah, I'm mulliganing this hand. Any hand with a Force or a Thoughtseize is going to be better. I guess I spoke too soon. No land here. Yeah, this is unfortunate. I have to go to 5. No lands. And this hand is an obvious keep. So let's see. Will I need to buy time with Wasteland? Or do I need to develop my own stuff? So let's say hold up Consign turn 1. Start cantripping turn 2, probably. Let's get rid of those. Yeah, the first hand was rough. What I wanted to mention was also the dynamic in the matchup is my opponent is not going to just play Charbelcher and lose to a single Force. So you can sometimes buy a little bit of time with that. Okay, it looks like I'm getting gambled turn 1. Chrome Mox getting discarded, and then I assume they have LED and in the draw 7. Okay, so they go for turn 1 draw 7, which is kind of hilarious with what I just said. But I guess that works. So my opponent's up a resource, and I have a hand that's not really going anywhere, but it can, you know, stop the opponent a little bit. Okay, so do I want my opponent to be scared, or do I want my opponent to go for it? I think I want my opponent to go for it. Here's a Brainstorm I'm keeping on top. Also, this is a signal that might be a good idea to get going. Also notice that opponent played out these artifacts, so that tells me they don't have Galvanic Relay, which is good news for my Force of Will. I wonder what the decision to play out those... I wonder what's it good against. Let's see. I would happily daze a Burning Wish. I would hate to get Thoughtseized. Opponent milled over a Brainstorm. That's interesting. So either they don't need the draw power, or they just really kind of scared about Orcish Bowmaster in my deck. I think I should cast Brainstorm now because I have 1-drops that would be awesome hits. It looks like Wasteland is awesome here, but these cards are just so bad. What happens if I develop the Tameo, try and survive until next turn? I think that's better. For a couple of reasons. First of all, I get something going here, and I don't have to draw those cards, bad cards on top of my deck. Second of all, if I develop Island number 2, I have double days up, which is air quotes the same as Wastelanding. So I kind of get to a better spot here. So now we're approaching the time in the game where if I was the combo player, I would be thinking things are not getting better from here. Okay, here's a brainstorm. Things are not getting better from here, which is the logic that you should go for it rather than let your opponent keep drawing cards, wastelanding, cantripping, thought seizing, etc. So I guess the opponent wasn't necessarily scared of brainstorm. They just had another one in hand, and it was their first blue mana entered tapped here. So let's see if our opponent can put together a kill with backup. They can't. Okay, so now I get to wasteland the only blue source there. I think that's solid. I'm still scared of like a kill with Veil backup, I guess. So let's see if there's a relay here. One card left in hand. Okay, so Galvanic Relay for 3. How do I play the game? Is this double days time? So funny. Oh, wait a minute. They have mana here. It's not double days time. Song of Creation, very scary. Burning Wish, very scary. And Taiga, not that scary. Okay, that's gonna be a rough one. I draw Thoughtseize. Not bad necessarily, but the opponent only has one card left. Let's see. So if I have to bounce a land, which one do I want it to be? Let's say they have a Veil here, so I'll just play perfectly here. Think about which lane I want to return with Daze in case I face a Veil. Maybe it's just the untapped land. No, that's not true. Yes, that's true. All right. Let's cast Thoughtseize. Boom. Good exchange here. Well, I guess it with 0 cards in hand, I guess it doesn't really matter. It makes my Force of Will live next turn. Now, should I wasteland my opponent? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. Play that. Force the song, Daze the Wish. Yes, I should wasteland. So now opponent can go play the cards I just mentioned. So hopefully this Daze is going to be live. Pretty cool match. Lots of small decisions here. Lots of small decisions in challenging positions. Here comes Song. Can't let that happen. And here comes Burning Wish. So if my opponent drew something like a Petal, I would be very sad. Looks like they didn't. So I'm now playing the game at very low resources. I survived. Devastating. Yeah, not sure about that. You have 6 mana. You'll be fine, buddy. So I have a Tameo against infinite mana. Let's see if I can draw, stuff. Okay, Brainstorm counts as stuff. So now next turn, I can hopefully dig my way into something, and if not, I have to fade this turn and the next one to bring back a force with my -3. That's kind of my plan here. Certainly not an odds favorite. Magic is a lot about when you're losing, giving yourself the best chance to win. When you're winning, give the opponent the smallest chance to come back. All right, that's problematic. So flipping my Tamiyo here, I draw a single force. Tapped out, so no consign online. No graveyard to recur from. Yeah, this has been an awesome match. Veil resolves. So if I'm countering that Veil, I'm basically saying I think you have third Echo, and I want, like, Force at the end of the rainbow. I don't think that's the best way to play. I think it's better to be like, kill me if you can, buddy. Also note that this is probably a spot where drawing into Macabre here would have been brutal, because the opponent thought the coast was clear, and then they go for, you know, the line that kills with 100% certainty, which is out of the graveyard. That's kind of interesting. That's a good way to evaluate, right? So obviously I'm losing this game, but it's just good to be like, okay, so did my sideboard choices make sense? This spot, the opponent's playing under a Veil, which card would have mattered? And Macabre is probably one of them, right? So it's just good to learn every time you play, no matter the outcome. Also, let's say I don't spike that Mishra's Bauble on top of my deck with the Surveil Land. It was still a good play to think about it, right? So that's a lot like how I approach Magic. And then sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. All right, here's Besiege Dimir. The Emissary of Learning has devastated the Baron. And here's the Lethal Tendrils. All right, very, very cool match to start out. Let's see if we can have a few more of those. All right, more Magic has to be played. I'm on the draw here in my Dimir tempo deck, and I can't say I love this hand, but it's good enough. Let's imagine I was on the play here. What would I do turn one? Maybe just play the Tamiyo off Underground Sea. Or Thoughtseize off Underground Sea, I guess. My opponent mulligans a 6. Yeah, I probably would have done that. Urza Saga pass. This smells a lot like Ancient Tomb, unfortunately for me. This also means my opponent is probably not going to be playing anything next turn because they want to activate Urza's Saga. So how do I feel about Island Tamiyo? I think that's all right. In games like this, there's always some opportunities for Bowmasters to kill the first construct if they don't develop another artifact. Let's see if I get to connect on that one. Also, we don't know if we're up against Mono Red Prison, if we're up against like a Painter deck. And as I say that, I click through this one. Oh, another Storm deck. That's actually hilarious. So it's very possible that I should have dazed that Chrome Mox. I should have given that a thought at the very least. Here's a Wasteland, kind of right on cue. I like that a lot. So now I can flip my Tamiyo and Wasteland the Saga. I feel like that's the way we play. These cards are awesome. These might be good. Bowmasters might not be good. So which card is the worst card here? It's probably Orcish Bowmaster. So I go like Bowmaster. And which card do I want to hide in case I get Thoughtseized? Maybe my own Thoughtseize is to answer that question. Flip plus Waste Saga. Pass the turn. My opponent needs 3 artifacts to kill the Tameo, which is not going to happen. Here's Cabal Ritual. I'm going to let that go. And then see what this is. Ad nauseum. That's pretty cool. Oh, wait a minute. I can daze this. Yeah, certainly. Dazing the ad nauseum. Tameo is in a standoff here. I love my spot. Now the Thoughtseize is useless. Let's see. Is Bowmaster underneath useless? Or is that card fine? I think that card is serviceable. So maybe I just play Tameo. Tameo is a blocker right now. My opponent draws an artifact. It's no longer the case. So here I draw the Bowmaster. So let's plus Thoughtseize our opponent. Probably the no attack here. Ooh, if my opponent plays that card, they can pressure Tameo. That was not the case. And now I'm just playing Protect the Queen. But that being said, if my opponent draws a Petal or a Chrome, I'm not going to fight over it. Then I'm going to slow down a little bit, bounce the Construct. So now my opponent can take the Force of Will, and I have a choice whether I should bring back Force, delay myself. I think that's probably the way to play. Guess I bounce that, draw, or attack rather. Oh, with 1 card. I don't think. Okay, that is a good one. I gotta say that. So boom, land was very good. So now I can Kaito. Let's have a look here. More Bowmasters. Let's see. This is going to be a 3/3. I already played my land. Let's get rid of those. Drawn to another Force of Will. Sure. So now the game becomes probably Bowmaster blocks. Try and get to the 7. So I guess if they have Shadow Spear, that plan is out the window. The good thing is the Tameo is kind of a punching back here, and I can hopefully win with my ninja plan. LED resolves. So now my opponent can make a 4/4 and block my Kaito if they want to. Let's see. If they make a 4/4, eat the Kaito, I kill it with Bowmasters. Do I like that exchange? I'm pretty sure I like that exchange. So let's attack. So this is a fun game where my opponent will have some big creatures if they want to, but they kind of have to kill the Tameo. And then maybe I can do some good things with Kaito, Flying Brazen, trying to get the job done. They don't know about the Bowmaster, but they could, you know. realistically think about it here. So damage. Sorry about that. Let's see. Orcish Bowmasters finishing off. Construct. Surveil. No thanks. Late Tameo plus. And my opponent has to beat me. With the top draw of their deck and the 1-man artifact that they can search. So let's see. They go for mana. Okay. Here's Candy Trail, which in theory gives them access to one more card, right? You can sack it. Yeah. So in theory, if they have the perfect like Veil plus action, I can lose this game. Okay, so we got the job done here against the Saga Storm deck. Let's see if we can sideboard in the exact same way. That would be pretty cool. All of these are valuable. Not the Hydros, though. So where does that put us? Get rid of those cards. Like all of the other cards here. Now, do I like a single Bowmaster or a single Cage? Probably Cage is decent here. Not perfect, obviously. Cage stops Gaea's Will. Cage stops the draw 7. I think this is reasonable. And then in case my opponent has like turn 1, Berry guard slightly better than Cage. All right, let's try again. All right, this hand is awesome. This hand is good against any non-Saga Dross. That's just something you have to realize when you play Magic. It's like you can never have like Force Wasteland. You can't cover all angles, right? So this is just statistically good enough. And then, you know, the game has to get played. Spire. Okay, Duress. I'm going to let them have a peek here. I've certainly forced a Duress in my time. But I think it's fine here. Let them have it. Oh, they go for Brainstorm. Okay. Unclear about that one. Let's have a look here. Consign. Maybe that's a decent card. All right. Let's try and draw the Consign. So I probably counter the next chapter on that card. I feel like that's the way to play. Let's fetch first, because I know I'm tapping out for the Consign. Then have a look. We want to draw this card next turn. So if there's really fireworks, I will end up with either a Tameo or a Ponder here. Then would I want the land or not? I think I'm fine on the lands. So let's stifle this one. So now at least my opponent can't make tokens, so they get to basically trade their Saga for a 1-drop in their deck. Ooh. I see. Double Saga here. Not my favorite development. Dark Ritual. I mean, at this point, I should probably let that happen. What is going on here? Okay, so my opponent is forcing me to double force here. That's pretty strong. That is... Okay. I don't like that play from the opponent. I think they could have done a better job. Wow. Wasteland is an insane draw here. I feel like I should play Tamiyo and slow down. I feel like the opponent should have waited for a better spot rather than just given up on ever resolving a big spell. I think it's better to hang on. You can always find a spot with, you know, discard spells or whatever. But now the opponent gets to search the trail. I have a Tamiyo with a force against a couple of cards. So I like my position. I got lucky to find the Wasteland in time. Consigned to buy time against the first one. Surveilled Underground Sea to the graveyard. Lots of small stuff that you have to do right in order to get rewarded. So let's see. What if I have a land on top of my deck? Do I wish I would have... Yeah, let's try and flip the Tamiyo here, since I drew the other blue card. Okay. So... this does not give me double force this turn. But... I complete it next turn. So what if I go... draw the Brazen now, draw the Force next turn. Is that good? I'll try that. So I'm not flipping my Tamiyo, but I'm setting up for double Force next turn, which is going to be hard for the opponent to beat. Only 2 Sagas left. There's a Chrome Mox. My opponent is kind of laying out stuff ahead of schedule without necessarily using the Storm, but this time could be different, obviously. Let's see what this is. Emptying the hand for Infernal Tutor. No Kraken response. So what would my opponent tutor for? Probably Ursa Saga. I don't think I can let that happen. Or so will that. Attack. Crack a clue, play a land, pass the turn. I know about the Bloodstained. This is a spot where I could have drawn the Bloodstained here and passed so that I had force on top of my deck. But I actually don't think that helps, because if I... well, it helps against exactly Duress, I guess. Yeah, it helps against Duress. Okay, so I played this slightly, well, however you want to call it, or massively wrong, who knows. But I should have had Force Will on top of my deck, crack the clue now to find the Force, so that I was insulated against getting exactly Duress, which my opponent has showed that they're running. So, okay, so Basic Island means I'm flipping my Tamiyo now. This is the cool thing about Tamiyo. It's a card that, if you draw spells, awesome. If you draw lands, probably also awesome. Let's fetch here. Crack a clue. Daze. I don't think that card's going to be good, but at least it pitches to Force of Will. So now I feel like it's my opponent's time to beat me, because if I untap, I can recur second Force here. So, Ursa Saga, or I guess kill plus Veil is what the opponent wants to do here. Or kill plus discard spell, rather. All right, they got there on the Saga, which makes this interesting, probably. Green. Gaia's Will suspended. Okay, that's good. Good to think about. So now what I can do, probably a decent draw. Now what I can do is bring back Consign to make sure I don't lose to Saga. I think that's how you play Magic the Gathering. Let's see if there's a Wasteland first. There's a clock. I do like a clock around here. So let's go like this. Return Consign. Play Nethergoyf. Let's see how much mana is the opponent on. 1, 2, 3, so maybe this is a good spot to bounce a Chrome. Nope, I need my mana. Never mind. Never mind. Need my mana here. Gaia's Will. I have plenty of time to recur another consign. All right, no tokens for you. Plus, let's see. Maybe I just end step the 3/1 and I hang on to the fairy. That's probably going to be fine. Let's pass. Now the opponent gets to search another one. I have a lot of counter magic here. Again, the combination of attacking your opponent and disrupting your opponent is what's going to win you the game. There's Haywire Might. That's pretty cool. A nice little gain 6. Let's slam the brace in here. Keep working on the opponent's life total. I'm gonna tick up the Tameo. I trust the double backup is enough. Okay. The opponent did not block. What does that tell us? Maybe not much. What happens if I could just recur the Force of Will here? Then I have triple backup. Am I losing to the 4th Ursa Saga if I do so? I think maybe I'm fine because I'm attacking in the air. Okay. Let's try bring back Force of Will. Hanging on to the fairy. As I want hardcast negation. Next turn, the Gaia's Will is coming, which is a must counter. I'll negate that. Let's see if it's even a must counter. What happens if I just fairy, let's say, Adnos and Infernal Tutor? Maybe bad things will happen. Do I have Bowmasters in my deck? I don't. So maybe I just... I could find Ninja, though. Let's brainstorm first. So let's see. Attack, opponent goes to 11, opponent goes to 8. So I have lethal next turn, so I don't need this. Do I need to Thoughtseize? Do I even have triple force? I don't have triple force if I Thoughtseize. So maybe I just go like that one, attack. My opponent will block this time. They can't go to 1 against my, you know, maybe Bowmaster deck. And now I have the hard decision of Gaia's Will, because it only counts for those cards that's already there. So what happens if I exile the 4 best ones, being Duress, Ritual, Adnos, and Infernal Tutor? Then my opponent replays Haywire, replays Saga, blocks. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Oh, it's pretty annoying I have to counter that card. But you gotta do what you gotta do, and then my opponent needs 3 cards to beat me. Beat my double force. I have lethal here, so 4 cards. I forgot about the draw step. Yeah, this is sure getting annoying. My fairies look terrible here compared to what Cage would have been. Okay, my opponent concedes here, so in theory they probably have you know, one action spell, they see the double force that I recurred with Tamio, and I'm lucky to take down the match here. Yeah, this got kind of like the first match. I feel like I could just lose at any moment, except this time I guess I was playing from ahead rather than behind. But yeah, two pretty cool matches. Let's play one more. All right, last round of this video. I'm on the draw with my Dimir deck. I feel like if you win more die rolls, this deck will be unstoppable. Lots of these cards like Thoughtseize, Daze, Wasteland, etc. get quite bad on the draw compared to the play. Okay, we're up against a cool deck here. So now I feel like I should Thoughtseize my opponent to hopefully break their curve. Let's see if they have redundant threats. They do have redundant threats. So we need to give this card a read. Sand Scout. Whenever one of our lands are put into a grave from anywhere, make a 1/1. So that would be fetching, milling, getting wasted, etc. So what happens if I go take the Ajani, let that resolve? No, then they go Ocelot Pride and build a token. So what happens if I go take the Pride, force the Ajani, push the Scout later? Is that good? I think that's how I should play. Also, this is telling my opponent I might have Daze, which may or may not alter what they're doing. Okay, this is cool. I haven't played against this deck before. I've seen it round and about. Let's see what this is. This is probably going to be a Johnny that I will happily force a will, pitch ponder, building a little bit of a graveyard. Okay, that draw is not the best. Is this time to... Maybe my play this game is like protect the queen with Murktide. Okay, I love this Flooded Strand quite a bit. Let's see if I love it enough to... Yeah, I'll certainly Fatal Push on this turn cycle. Another Ajani is very, very annoying. So let's force pitch Tamio. So I think what I should do now is kill the Guide of Souls and then slam the Murktide. So I'm like super all in here. I've forced atrocious spells, but that's kind of my only plan here, I feel like. What I could have done was let Ajani resolve, kill the Guide, play this, have force left. Yeah, I feel like that's what I needed to do, actually. Because I'm losing to Swords to Plowshares. I'm not losing to Sand Scout. Sacrifice a creep. So next turn, the opponent can bring back some stuff. Ugh. I don't think I get Ninja here, right? Let's see. Sacrifice a desert. Exile target creature card. Mana value X. From a graveyard. So the opponent can make a 4 for a Johnny next turn, right? Which is going to be a problem. I guess I just attack for 8 and hope for the best. So a nice trick you can do is you can let your opponent take 8 damage and then ninjutsu in the Kaito. Let's say I was in a desperate situation. All right, so the opponent brings back Ocelot Pride, gains a life. I wonder why the opponent's fetching here. Okay, so the opponent should probably have fetched on my turn, right? Triggers once each turn, yes, then I would be in trouble. This is now a huge life linker, which is a big problem. Bowmasters, usually a decent draw here, but not this time, I think. So let's see. If my opponent... Nope, that's not going to do it. Am I supposed to attack for 8 and shut down the pride here? I'm at 9 life. That's 5, 6, 7. I get my opponent to 5. How do I deal 5 next turn? I guess the answer is I don't. Attack for 8. My opponent's at 5. Attack with that one. They go to 9. And then end of turn, they go to 10, which is off. Yeah. I might have messed this one up. It's tough to say. Bowmasters. So what if I don't attack, I guess? Slow down? Is that even good? I guess I'll try and slow down. And see if that works. Okay, here's another 1/1 for the opponent. And unfortunately, like, going nuts here end of turn. With the city's blessing, they have a flyer now. So I feel like I have to go master here. I guess kill a cat token. The opponent has the city's blessing, and this goes really nuts. So I wonder what my play is here. I'll cast this brainstorm. I think I need to hit like double push or something. I don't hit double push. I'm brainstorm locked. Okay. I'll go to the next game here. That was cool. It was cool to see like a modern port with some upgrades. So they do play red. They showed red cards. At least red mana, right? So I think my counters are just very bad. And these cards can be serviceable. I like Thoughtseize. My plan about building a Murktide, I think it had a lot of good things, but it also obviously had a lot of bad things built into that plan. My opponent seemed to have pretty good inevitability, and obviously drawing, you know, a Johnny in the Reanimator land was very brutal for my plan. And overall, just a cool deck. Cool deck where it kind of showcases that if you don't know what's going on, it's, you know, it's a big advantage for the opponent. Let's put this brainstorm into the graveyard and try and be as efficient as possible here. And with that being said, I'm probably going to spend my turn 2 killing a 1-drop with my Edict. Ocelot Pride, kind of white Ragavan scenario. Draw Bloodstained Mire, so maybe we can sacrifice that for a C. I think it's fine to play from mono duels here. So let's cast this one. Pass. Again, building a graveyard. I think I probably need a Thoughtseize in advance to make this Murktide viable. Let's see. Here's Amped Raptor. That's a great advantage card. Let's see if they can hit a brick here. Lightning Bolt is close to a brick. I certainly accept. Now could be time to cast a Brainstorm, trying to improve our hand. So we know this Wasteland is kind of bad. This looks like a good turn to double spell. So I can go... Wait, sorry, Thought Seize my opponent. Okay, so take the plow, play land, pass. I have the intention to push the guide. And then I'm resilient to Wasteland, and I can jam a Merc. I think that's solid. The opponent drew that card, we know that. 3 cards left in hand, that's going to be 3 lands. I'm going to take 2 damage here. Kill the Soul Guide. Not Soul Guide, Guide of Souls, I guess. My opponent probably is a Pyroblast deck, though, which is scary. Wasteland here is not great. Let's see if we can find something better to do. Okay, these cards are solid. This card is bad, though. So let's have the Nethergoy for next turn. So now I go Wasteland because why not? Murktide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make it as big as possible. I think that's solid for racing purposes. Let's see the Desperation Sack here, looking for a Plow or a 1-drop, I guess. Opponent connects, always good to see. Let's cast Ponder here. I have a bad card on top. Okay, these cards are amazing. So let's kill the Pride. Attack for 8. Keeping myself at a healthy life total. Here's Sand Scout. Sand Scout into... Wait a minute, what happened here? Oh, you're searching this one. Okay, I forgot about that mode. You're searching that one. Got it. Magic is hard. So... I can try and find my next Murktide and attack for lethal here. That's probably how to play. I want to make sure I don't lose to Goblin Bombardment. Let's cast Brainstorm. Brick on what I talked about, but this is quite solid, so maybe I go... kill that card, but it will fetch in response. No, they're not. Okay. Play Nethergoyf. This is sorcery speed. Let me check. Activate only a sorcery, so I can do that on my opponent's draw. Back for 8. So let's see, what can I do here? If I attack with everybody, my opponent goes to 2. That doesn't help me. So attacking with Merc here, opponent down to 3. And then I will draw step, Wasteland. So my opponent can't manipulate. I guess they're doing it for me here, so I'm just going to do it while they're tapped out. Yep, kill that one. My opponent needs to draw something magical like Amped Raptor into Plow. Yeah, that would be awesome. Because then the... Nope, it doesn't... Nope, it doesn't... Yeah, it's kind of bad. Then the opponent has to chump block and stuff. Alright, so I was lucky to curate a good plan there. I just had to... The whole 1-for-1, trying to pick apart their puzzle. That's kind of what I feel like the key to beating that deck is, you know, pushing Edict, Thoughtseize, Bowmastering. I feel like if we trade 1-for-1, we get into a position where I'm winning. if we don't trade 1-for-1, I'm in big, big trouble. Then their machine will beat my machine. That's just how the matchup works. So opponent keeps 7, I'm keeping 7. These cards are solid. Again, I'm losing to their best draws. That's just what Magic is. Ooh, the opponent would either the weak hand or the bait plateau. I love both of those. So I feel like this is a good spot for basic swamp. Because my curve turn 2 is a blue and a black spell. So it doesn't hurt me to find the swamp here. So they'll probably have a redundant hand. I love that they dared me to wasteland their turn 1. That's a pretty cool play. So let's see. Sand Scout is annoying, but I can push it. The other cards deal with what I have going on here. So maybe I'm supposed to take a Pyroblast. Or I'm supposed to say, let's just push the next thing and make this a non-factor. Oh. I'm going to take the Pyroblast here with the slim hope that this lets me stick a Murktide some turns from now. But I also understand that that's not necessarily how Magic works between my opponent drawing more plows, etc. Here's... Okay, so the opponent goes Guide of Souls. Ooh, there's a Hydro. So now, funnily enough, I get punished for how I fetched. It's always something that can be hard to predict. Let me play that card. And now it's up to the opponent if they want to get dazed, I guess. I'm pretty happy if they untap here. They don't care about getting dazed. That card is gone. Bolt gone. Scout, Plateau, Sand Scout. One unknown. Here's Sand Scout. Always a little scary here. If my opponent drew a fetch, it's slightly annoying. It's alright. They drew a fetch. Here's Guide of Souls getting in there. Now what's the most dangerous? What is the most dangerous out of those two? Maybe it's the token machine, but this one is also annoying. So now the opponent can get a 1/1, which will get bricked by Tamiyo. I counter if they try and remove it. I think I talked myself into the Guide being the best card. So the reason why... Yeah, it was just annoying my opponent drew a fetch, I guess. The opponent finds an action spell. Yeah, I certainly could have approached this very wrong. It's just cool to see. It's cool to see weird decks, because this is a very competitive deck. Like Plow. I'm gonna Hydro this. And then I'm gonna get blasted. But I think it's a fine exchange. This is very competitive. Like, it's playing some very, very solid spells around the whole creature package. Let's see if they want to Pyro back here. If they Pyro back... Yeah, they Pyro back. Let's see what they hit here. They hit a Plow, and that card is dead, so they are left with a Pyroblast. No, they're not. Sorry. They're left with a Plateau, so this is where my Murktide can shine, hopefully. Great draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6, 6, and 2, 3, which is right now stopping the opponent's aggression. They have a gazillion answers in their deck, though. Let's see if they drew. Let's see if they drew one of them. Okay, so the good thing for me is my opponent still can't do anything. I draw another Murktide, which might be good. Who knows? Passing here with my Curd Ape. Going with a bunch of energy in the bank. No Bowmaster for me. The opponent starts to grind here. Okay, so this is going to be very strong for the opponent. Because now they can start chipping in. Backing for 4 in the air. I think I have to take it. And now I have to get a little bit lucky, which I wasn't. I need a fatal push here. It's not a fatal push, so let's try and do the math. Let's say I attack with Tamiyo, I draw into the Ponder. Then what? Then I can block that one and take exactly 7, so that's not viable. So let's see. I think my way to win this game is keep this on top. Next turn, Ponder into a push. Jump block with Tamiyo, 4 cards in the yard. 3, sorry. Cast Ponder, 4 cards. Find push, 5 cards. And then slam Murktide. Yeah, I think that's what I gotta do. So in this game, let's see. My opponent had a ton of answers in hand. I decided to go after one of them because I wanted to stick, you know, Murktide inevitably. I guess they just drew a little bit better afterwards. And I didn't realize the full potential of the deck. But yeah, it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I'm trying to learn as I lose here. It's always the way to do it. So the jump block here, I need to do that because of how my out in this game works. So let's see if I can do it. Bauble. Bauble seems like kind of a free card. Again, funnily enough, the swamp is hurting me. If I bauble, I can leave the bauble in there. So let's see, I go bauble, see the top card of my opponent's deck. Let's see the bad news, buddy. Guide of Souls is, I think, beatable. Leaving Artifact in my yard because that's the hardest type. Play a 4/4. Pass, get my 3/3 back. Draw. Guide of Souls gives my opponent 1 energy. I feel like they have a blank in hand. Okay. So now I will double block, hopefully trade with the Raptor. Awesome for the opponent. Yeah, that was the game. So the last card was Lightning Bolt. Yeah, okay. These cards are not close to good enough. Hydroblast kills that one, which is solid. Opponent on 0 cards. So let's say my opponent just goes all out attacking here. Kill Raptor with Blast. Block there. And I have a chance. But I feel like I should brainstorm. Should I brainstorm now? Yeah, I should brainstorm now because I can hit another Nethergoyf. There's a Barrowgoyf. Is that good enough? If my opponent bricks on a creature, So the problem is they have to brick on creature and what's it called? Fetch, because even a fetch gives the opponent enough to fly in for lethal. So let's see. The only card I can beat if my opponent draws a normal land, any creature kills me. I guess Pyroblast as well. Pyroblast or land. Magic too hard. But I should think about my alternative here. Because I'm just getting crushed by those cards anyway, right? Because then they have 2 flyers. And I'm in trouble. So for those reasons, I will be playing like this. Deploying Barragoyf, I can only win if my opponent draws a basic land or a dual land. I lose to anything else. Yeah, that was a great match. That bolt was brutal. That bolt was brutal. But that was a great match. Also a great showcase of how to play against, you know, unknown deck, trying to learn as we go. Made a few suboptimal choices. And it made me pay in the end here. The basics didn't work out. I needed to double spell during the game. The opponent, you know, just showcasing like the scout in combination with the guides. Obviously, the guides came at not the best moment for me. Did the opponent find? The opponent found 3 guides after I thought seized them, I feel like, which is, you know, something that can of course happen. But yeah, it's part of the evaluation, and I'm happy to now have 1 match under my belt against Legacy Boros Energy. Cool to see. All right, that'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed some tempo gaming, some combo decks and some energy decks, not the decks I usually play against, but yeah, it was good fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well, and I hope to see you back soon on the channel. Thanks for watching.